can't remember how it developed, but he started drooling more than I had noticed, and his toys were getting wet. And Laredo didn't really have a problem with slobber quite so much. I mean, he slobbered like a normal dog, I guess, but not where his toys would be wet. And he started coughing a little bit, and I took him to the vet because I figured, maybe something got lodged in his throat. That's where the saliva was coming from. I thought maybe something had gotten lodged in his throat. Maybe a piece broke off a toy. I had no idea. Maybe he picked something up outside. There was a weekend back in August. He started to develop a cough, and it was concerning because it just accelerated over the weekend. And I kept telling Kelly, if it doesn't get better, I'm going to take him to the vet. Like this is kind of bad, and it set on pretty quickly. Monday morning, I took him to the vet, and she went to work. And the vet is the same vet I told you about that I had become friends with, and I had given the big penny to. He also had put down my Persian cat that I'd had for 16 years. And when I went into him, I knew it was time to put her down, and I was distraught. And he was very comforting and very professional in the way that he handled it, and he put her to sleep in my arms. And I cried, and I told him, this is really hard on me. And he shared a story with me at that time that he was the vet for some of the Mafia hitmen. And he'd seen some of the biggest, toughest, most powerful men cry when they put their dogs down. And he said the ones you have to worry about are the ones that don't cry. He had been with those men, separated from what they've done, but in their moment of grief with their animals. So I took Laredo into the vet. Good morning, George. Hey, he's got a little cough in his throat. I want to have him checked out. I think maybe he picked up something outside. Don't really know what happened, but he's coughing. He's kind of drooling a little bit. And that was it. He left the room with George or Dr. Anest. Dr. Anest and Laredo left the room. And a few minutes later, Dr. Anest comes back into the room and informs me that Laredo has metastasized lung cancer, and that if I wanted to take him home today, he may have a few more days left in him. That news hit me like a ton of bricks. I had no idea that was coming. I expected that at worst case scenario, he got something picked up from outside, a bone or something, and had a piece of something lodged in his throat, and we were going to be looking at surgery. I had no idea we were looking at, we can put your dog down today. I'm very sorry. Of course, he was very professional. He consulted me and allowed me to sit in the room while I gained my composure, and asked me not to drive, and made sure I was okay before I left. The first call I made was to Canine Companions because I thought surely there's got to be some kind of something, the program protocol. They don't let their dogs just die. This how is this happening? This dog he's way too young for this. He's way too young for this. I haven't even had him that long. When I called Canine Companions, the general consensus that I received, it wasn't the lifeline I expected. There was no magic treatment. There was no express lane for healing cancer for dogs that were involved in the Canine Companions. There was no magic genie in a bottle that I was hoping for as the answer on the other end of that phone. And as I drove home, I started racking my brain with there's got to be something. There's got to be something. And I remembered watching a video a few months back about somebody named Joe Tippins. I remember watching a video that had been back about a guy that had lung cancer. And I was determined to go home and find that video. And I found it. And the guy's name was Joe Tippins. And he talked about being in the final stages of lung cancer and the regimen he used to combat that lung cancer. And I quickly got everything I could together to build this regimen for Laredo, ordering ivermectin online, ordering the fenbendazole online. I utilized Amazon where I could. I utilized other sources where I had to. And I was able to put together a regimen for him, not only with Joe Tippins' regimen, but also some other things, Slippery Elm, and some other holistic attributes that I thought would be helpful for this situation. I also I was able to get my hands on an oxygen concentrator for him, and I've been giving him oxygen treatments for the last several months, along with his regimen of pills. I did a lot of praying, and I did a lot of reading and research and interacting with AI and learning how to ask AI questions. And so between prayers and oxygen treatments, it's 90 days later, and Laredo is still with me. Come here, buddy. You doing okay? We're closing in on 100 days now of this regimen and oxygen treatment. And I'm not sure that Laredo is going to be around a whole lot longer, but I have gotten an extended goodbye period. When it was presented to me by the vet, it was either that day or a couple days. And I got to have almost 100 days with my buddy. We've gotten to play a lot of games of tug of war. I've gotten to take him to the park. We've gotten to interact. And he's been through a lot. He had an eye infection somewhere around day 60 where his eye got really infected and made his nose run. And they had to put him on antibiotics for that. He has become an extremely picky eater, and we had to spoon feed him for a lot of his meals. But he's got good days and bad days. And just when you think, we've had the conversation several times, like, okay, this is, his quality of life is now maybe not where it should be. And we don't want him to suffer, but I'll sit there and I'll just focus in on him. When we've debated his relief from all of this, and when the time comes, he hadn't eaten in a couple days, and we were really thinking this was it. It was his time. And I spent some time just sitting there talking to him. I say talking to him, but just staring into his eyes. And we talk without saying anything to each other. And he came inside and started eating. So Laredo's still here. And he's actually breathing better. He doesn't take the oxygen treatments as much. He's not doing the panting and the gasping for breath. He's not even getting the oxygen treatments as much because he's not panting. And I'm not sure whether that's the treatments or whether it's that the air is much cooler. But my buddy is now my hospice patient. And I went from being the one that he served to me serving him on his final days with me. Unless he has a miraculous healing, he is just getting an extended time to say goodbye to us. But the kitten has since calmed down and doesn't chase Laredo quite as much. The kitten has since calmed down. Oh, no. Yeah, real calm. So the kitten has calmed down, and Laredo has become the hospice patient that I never wanted, but will never turn my back on. And I take care of him, and he still takes care of me. Don't forget to say your prayers, guys. Get out there. I don't know when you're going to watch this, but it's going to be over. The vote, they're probably still not done counting. Right? Yeah. Anyway, guys, say your prayers. Yeah. Anyway, guys. Okay, why don't you say a little bit more? I know. Now. Anyway, guys, say your prayers. Get out there. Take care of each other. Trust in God. Love your animals. Don't let them take your squirrels. Right, honey? Back of red smells like fish. Red, you need to go outside, buddy.